Okay, so let's get back to the Southwest, and more specifically, Turning Point USA. The Utah Turning Point USA tour features Alex Clark, Senator Lee, Representative Biggs, Jason Chaffetz, and Governor Cox. The This is the Turning Point tour at Utah State University features Alex Clark and a panel with Lee, Biggs, former Rep. Chaffetz, and Cox, published 9/30/2025. All right. Who's Alex Clark? I don't know. Clark was born on February 23rd, 1994. She grew up in Indiana, wanted to work in fashion journalism, the goal of working at Teen Vogue. Went to community college and internship with a pop radio station in Kentucky. And then left WDJX in 2016 to become co-host of Joe and Alex morning show on WNOW in Indianapolis. Clark began her career in conservative media in 2019 as the host of Politics, a show produced by Turning Point USA, of which she is a contributor. 2019. That's like around the time that Erika and Charlie Kirk met, right? Okay. Through Politics, she cultivated a following she referred to as cute-servatives. In 2020, Clark expanded her media presence with the second podcast, The Spillover. Okie dokie. In 2024, Clark relaunched her podcast, calling it Culture Apothecary, which since then has regularly ranked in the top 10 of health and wellness podcasts on Apple and Spotify. Her new show got a boost when she was invited by U.S. Senator Ron Johnson. Ron Johnson. Okay, did he just co-sponsor a bill recently with Grassley and Bill Cassidy, right? Yep, we talked about that in the last video. Okay. Interesting. Let's see what else. Maintain her connection with conservative political circles. She has served as a host and speaker at Turning Point USA's Young Women's Leadership Summit and participated in the Make America Healthy Again initiative, which emerged in alignment with the broader MAGA movement. She lives in Scottsdale. That's where Erika Kirk lives, I believe. So, I'm not really sure who she is, but she seems to now be front and center, which is kind of odd. You would think that they would have replaced Charlie Kirk, if anything, with a conservative man. And yes, it absolutely does matter, because if they're going to turn it over to a female, which obviously Erika Kirk, the new CEO, is a female, and this woman, she's going to be headlining. It's going to become a female organization. Kind of makes me think radical feminism, what we talked about recently. Part of the agenda. Alex Clark was about to head to the airport on a work trip when she heard the news about Charlie. What is so crazy is that we have them in the office because of Charlie. What is this? The very first thought that popped into my head was, I'm so glad that Charlie knew Jesus. The second thought was, what will happen now? And the third thought was, thank God Trump is president. She praised FBI Director Kash Patel and his deputy Dan Bongino for their leadership in the hunt for the suspect. Okay. Yep. All right. What's going on here? The Catholic Church is taking over, and it's putting women in leadership positions. That's what it seems like to me, but it's just a theory. Kirk and his fellow organizers were part of the effort that helped Donald Trump garner young votes in the 2024 election. Now the operation he built is charting a path forward without him, with his widow, Erika Kirk, newly at the helm as CEO and chair. Okay. Through her show, Culture Apothecary, Turning Point has built a base of conservative young women. Okay. Yep, interesting. Clark was a radio host in Indianapolis when she first got involved with Turning Point in 2018 at the radio station, which she described as liberal. She was a rare conservative Christian. She found like-minded people at Turning Point's Young Women Leadership Summit in 2018. Okay, so she and Erika Kirk met Charlie at the same time. About a year later, Turning Point reached out to Clark about collaborating. She was impressed by the strong conservative voices associated with the organization, like Candace Owens, Representative Anna Paulina Luna, Republican from Florida, and Brandon Tatum. All right. Some picture here. Yikes. And how much faith he had in my idea. She's talking about Charlie supporting her. Critics have described Kirk's view that women should put marriage before their careers as regressive. Why would they put that in there? Clark, however, painted her late boss as a champion of women's voices in the conservative movement. She praised his move in May to increase maternity leave to 6 months. He's a champion of women's voices in the conservative movement? I didn't know that. How so? On Tuesday, Clark said Erika Kirk addressed staff over Zoom. The organization, which has 450 employees, said it had received 54,000 requests from high school and college students to get involved. Clark, who had been promoting its annual America Fest event in December, said that the organization told her it is providing private security for her public appearances. So many times Charlie would text me, "We need the women." Clark said, "That was the task that I was given by him on behalf of Turning Point. I will do that as long as Erika will have me." It's interesting, all this information that didn't come out until after he passed away. Yeah, I'm getting really bad vibes from her and this whole women push. This is like exactly what I would expect from the Roman Catholic Church taking over Turning Point USA. Right? Oh boy. Speaking in Charlie Kirk's place, Utah Governor Cox booed at USU ahead of urging peacemaking. Yeah, well, I would certainly hope so. I am glad to hear that. Only weeks after conservative activist Charlie Kirk was shot and killed on a university campus in Utah, the organization he co-founded continued his planned American comeback tour 2 hours north at Utah State University. And as Governor Spencer Cox joined a panel of Republican Latter-day Saint politicians... What? I'm sorry, huh? He joined a panel of Republican Latter-day Saint politicians, LDS. LDS. The church that, like, I understand Utah has a lot of LDS, but LDS and Protestant, LDS is like associated, it's referred to as a cult. What's going on here? Now we know LDS and Mormon have ties to the CIA and Freemasonry with the Roman Catholic Church. So this is weird. A panel of Latter-day Saint politicians? Is this normal? I'm going to have to look into Charlie Kirk, his tours, and who used to tour with him. Anyway, they got booed. They got booed. Booed. The national spotlight shone on Utah GOP governor in the days after Kirk's death, and he drew bipartisan praise for his condemnation of toxic political division and violence. He did? Yeah, I must have missed that. 2 days earlier, Cox headlined CBS News 60 Minutes. I haven't even watched that. I don't even know if I can handle it. 60 minutes of this bozo? Are you kidding me? I'm going to have to try to sit through it and pick through and see what I can find out. But the audience, dotted with red Make America Great Again hats, drowned him out as he tried to recount his experience the day Kirk was killed at Utah Valley University in Orem. When he was able to speak, Cox said he was proud of the work Turning Point USA had done. The panel also included Arizona U.S. Rep. Andy Biggs and Utah's former Rep. Shafetz, now a commentator on Fox News, which is owned by BlackRock, right? Tyler Bowyer, who leads the campaign arm of Kirk's organization, Turning Point Action, hosted the panel. When Bowyer asked a question attacking what he called Cox's soft Utah approach, which Bowyer claimed has enabled some people that are mentally ill, Cox responded, "Peacemaking is not soft." "It's the hardest thing," Cox continued. "That's what Charlie understood, and this matters because there is a rift in our party." The party just sucks. You know, it's not like there's a rift because most of you, like the vast majority of your party, just sucks. They both suck, okay? Rift. Both parties need to be done away with. Can we just get a constitutional conservative party already, please? Rift. Yeah, most of you are covering up for pedophiles or are pedophiles. We're not sure yet if that's what you mean by rift. Senator Mike Lee, a close ally of Kirk's, was also scheduled to be on the panel. However, Lee said in a pre-recorded video shown early in the event that he instead needed to remain in Washington to participate in Senate votes ahead of a possible government shutdown. Well, that makes sense. So he was a close ally of Kirk. I'll have to look up that and see if that's true or not. It's now up to us to carry Kirk's message forward and take his charge to make America so strong and as durable as it can possibly be, Lee said. All right. The Utah senator appeared on Kirk's podcast 1 week before his slaying, just miles from Lee's home. "I want to thank you for the work that you're doing on campuses across the country," Lee told Kirk, "and for your interest in visiting Utah next week. You're giving students everywhere the chance to hear perspectives that they often wouldn't otherwise get." That is not coming from the right. An hour ahead of the Republican politicians taking the stage, thousands of students and supporters filtered into the D. Glenn Smith Spectrum Arena at Utah State University. A line of hundreds of attendees had earlier in the afternoon curled around the sidewalks outside the basketball arena. Although the building has a capacity of just over 10,000, Turning Point USA capped the event's attendance at 5,500 people. When a sponsor stepped out to introduce the event, just before 7 p.m., hundreds of seats remained empty. "Charlie, Charlie, Charlie," attendees chanted as seconds ticked down on a clock projected on the stage ahead of the start. Many of the attendees wore Make America Great Again apparel and white t-shirts with the word freedom. Okay. Others donned tees critical of Cox and toted placards with images of posts Kirk made attacking the governor, who is often perceived as more moderate than the other prominent figures in his party. Moderate? That's what you refer to him as? "He is the very first governor in the state of Utah to ever declare June Pride Month," said Sophie Anderson, a demonstrator active in Utah conservative circles who was holding one of the posters. Next to her was Tina Horlicker, who has held various local Republican Party positions, asking attendees, "Do you know about Governor Cox?" Charlie Kirk knew about Spencer Cox. He called for his expulsion from the Republican Party. That's all starting to make sense, isn't it? And currently, Horlicker said Spencer Cox is grandstanding on the assassination of Charlie Kirk. It's not just grandstanding, he's lying about it and covering it up. And this is why he was assassinated in Utah. Okay? Enter Governor Cox. In 2022, after Cox vetoed a ban on transgender girls from school sports, Kirk posted Utah Governor Spence Cox should be expelled from the Republican Party. Cox has since signed and supported multiple laws imposing restrictions on the state's transgender community and has retreated from his declarations acknowledging the LGBTQ plus community. I wonder if he has another closeted homosexual. I don't know. I'm going to have to look into this guy. When a student asked the governor Tuesday about Kirk's social media remarks, Cox said he hoped that the late activist opinion on the governor would have been different. If I had an opportunity to talk to him today, that's a bit distasteful. I don't know. I'm going to have to look and see if he's got any child trafficking ties. Because he might be one of those plus from the LGBTQ plus. You know the plus? You know what they are, right? What the plus is? Yeah, it's not good. Kids. Yeah, he might be a plus. We're going to have to look into him. Okay. This is so... I mean, like, it just keeps getting weirder and weirder, doesn't it? All right, let's try to get away from Charlie Kirk. Let's dive a little bit deeper into Erika. Let's look into this Alex Clark. Actually, there's a video. Let's play this video real quick.
They voted Erika Kirk as the new CEO and chair of the board, and they said that that's what Charlie had intended. I have only met her briefly a couple of times. I met her the longest, actually, just this last time in Dallas when I saw you. And her and Charlie came out, the Young Women's Leadership Summit, and they spoke. And she was just so sweet and so friendly. But what I really liked about her, in addition to her joyfulness, was she was very assured of herself and confident in what she believed in and her faith. And that when you're married to somebody like Charlie, to be able to go out and share that presence is a tough thing. So when I saw that this announcement came, it didn't surprise me at all. You know her though. You kind of grew up with them. What do you think about all of it?
Who? She's from Indiana. Does she mean since meeting them in 2018, 2019? I mean, that's not the same as growing up with them. I mean, this woman is what, 36? Right? And if they met 6 years ago, that would put her at 30. From 30 to 36, you consider that growing up with somebody? All right, whatever. Let's see how she answers.
Oh, well, there couldn't be a better choice than Erika. And, she didn't want this. She didn't plan for this. This was never her goal to be CEO of Turning Point USA, right? That was always supposed to be Charlie. She loves being a stay-at-home mom. She loves her two children.
Right.
They even kept their pregnancies a secret so that she could just really, really soak up that time. And I really feel like looking back, that was totally intentional, that they did everything that way. God knew that was going to be the right thing for them to just enjoy each other in those moments with the small amount of time that she was going to have with Charlie. And now she's ready to step in the role because it makes sense that the only person that could possibly take over and run this place in the best honor to Charlie Kirk would be his wife, who knew him better than anybody else, knew his intentions, knew his ultimate goals, his secrets. And so I can't wait to see what she does.
Because you see all of these young women and all of these young men all across the country. You travel more than I do. Tell me what you've seen.
Okay, well, first I want to say something interesting, which is that Turning Point USA actually has more female directors in our departments than male.
Here we go.
So you have a lot of high-level women working at Turning Point USA, a conservative company.
Women.
And when Charlie met Erika, I mean, obviously, believing in family and supporting the idea of a nuclear family was always top of mind for Charlie. But until he had his own...
Okay, we definitely have different ideas about what's interesting. Let's just leave it there. That was like a snooze fest, but they go on talking about this Hamptons thing. I guess this is like trending. They bring that up like 5 times. Oh, and there's some left versus right rhetoric. It's just boring stuff. So anyway, yeah, I think we need to look into this motley crew a little bit more. Look into the state of Utah and some Rubios, maybe. I'm sure there's a lot of other people as well. But I think that's enough for now. you guys have a great night. And I'll see you tomorrow with part 3.